Hey everybody, welcome to TK and Drinks. We got another What's the Story going on. Today we are being blessed with the homebrew master himself, John Mad Meader Duncan. Or is it Duncan?
It's Duncan.
John Duncan, thank you. He is the moderator or creator of a couple different Facebook groups, I believe, as well.
Yes, sir, two of them.
Right on. And you've been homebrewing and stuff for a while now. How long have you been doing that?
Better part of 4 years, going on 5 almost.
Oh, right on, my man. So go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit so we know who we're talking about.
So my name is John Duncan. I earned the nickname Mad Meader after I started a page called Micro Mead Makers.
Yeah.
Because I started doing weird things, crazy things. Then I, with the suggestion of another follower of the page, created micro meads and brewers. It's not exclusive just to meads, wine, beer, kombucha. If you want to learn how to make kombucha, so we're open pretty much. It's an open forum to all brewers.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I got into it just a little bit because I tried it at a Ren Fair, liked it, knew I could do better.
Said I knew I could do better. You said that was about 5 years ago or so?
Yeah.
And what was your first batch? How big was your first batch, I should say?
Well, I joined every group I could find to seek any kind of knowledge. But like anybody starting out, you're overwhelmed.
Sure.
Because you got this, you got that, you got everything everywhere, and too much of one thing and not enough of another. And so I was genuinely scared, to be honest with you, because everybody's like, oh, you got to make at least a 5-gallon batch. I'm a man who lives on a budget personally, but 5 gallons is a lot to lose for me. So I'm like, even 1 gallon to me seemed like a lot. So I'm like, I have to be able to do something. And I still follow some homesteading groups. And one of the ones I followed, the lady talked about making a quart batch of dandelion mead. And I'm like, can this same knowledge be applied to any kind? And she said yes. So I basically took that, went with it. And I think my first batch out the gate might have been, I want to say cotton candy snow cone syrup or like a pear walnut.
That's madness.
I got some humdingers.
No kidding. And how did it turn out?
Really, really good. The pear walnut was surprisingly subtle with the walnuts. But the cotton candy, by far, was one of my best quart batches ever.
Is that cotton candy grapes, or was it like cotton candy, like candy? You said cotton candy syrup.
Snow cone syrup, yes.
Yeah. Wow, and it was one of your best quart batches. I'll have to give that a shot. I'm just getting started. I picked up a set of homebrew. Well, I say a set, almost a complete set of homebrew equipment. I need to get a auto siphon and a couple other things, but I decided to go with the 1 gallon. And yeah, dude, I'm absolutely terrified. I also live on a budget, and I can't, committing all the way to 5 gallons and ended up having 5 gallons of jet fuel. I just wasted all this yeast and nutrients and everything on it. It terrifies me.
Exactly. And that's what bothered me, man, because honey's expensive, and I can't see dumping 15 pounds of honey down the drain, man, for no reason, because I didn't have the knowledge at the time. Right.
I feel it's disrespectful to all the ingredients. It's disrespectful to the whole process to go into it with just the intention of, this might be fucking trash, but you know what? I don't care. It's like, no, I want to treat my ingredients with a little bit of respect and kindness and some compassion.
Right. You get in what you put out. You get out what you put in.
Yeah, crap in, crap out, so to speak.
Pretty much.
So those were the first meads you ever made. You said it was the pear walnut and the cotton candy. Have you gone back and remade either of those since then?
I have not. I kind of went different directions with different things. My brain never stops thinking about different combinations, of course. But I ventured out and I've done what my friend Tyler, he's in the group. Tyler, I don't want to mess up his last name. McBean. He nicknamed one of my drogs. I mean, one of my Mead's Pirates drog. Or I've called them Franken Meads. What I would do is I'll take like 5 or 6 leftover 1-gallon batches, and I would dump them all into 1-gallon batches into a 1-gallon bucket carboy with some more honey and some more fruit. Add the yeast in there, and let it kick off again.
Okay. So do you do a lot of secondary fermentation, or do you just let it go through primary and then just kind of age and rack onto secondary or into post fermentation?
I do a lot. I mean, I'm a big secondary believer. My primaries run 30 days, give or take. Mostly give more than take. Because work and whatnot. So I might go about 45 days sometimes. And then secondary to me, is where, if you rack it over, you still got active fermentation possibly. I mean, and then you got that degassing to worry about, because I don't degas because I let my secondaries run for another 30 days or so, and it usually naturally degasses on its own.
See, that's something I'm still kind of contemplating how I want to approach that. I know I don't want to start off with any added carbonation or anything like that, so definitely trying to degas a little bit. I probably want to go as more still than not.
Yes, I don't carb anything only because if it's going to carb, it's going to do it naturally.
Right. Yeah, and I'm on that same page. If it's going to carbonate, I want to see what it does naturally and go from there. I don't want to add too many different variables into the mix, especially this early in my game. When I get a couple years into it and starting to get fancy or whatever, we can dance around with that idea. But right now, I want to try to keep it as principled as possible and stick to my lane and just try to create something that is pleasantly drinkable.
There you go. Now, but the piggyback though on that secondary fermentation thing is, I got a 6-gallon banana brown sugar going, and it's been going for a year, and it fermented fine, and I thought it was done, so I stabilized it because it was like 6 months, and I, and the hydrometer was dead in the water, so good is done, so I stabilized it with a little bit more than what needed to be done. Once I back sweetened it, somehow it kicked up fermentation. So it's been going for a year.
Wow, that's crazy to think it would still be going after all that time, little bits here and there.
So I'm letting it do its thing.
Yeah, there you go, man. That's all you can do. Have you been doing like little bench trials off of it as you go, or?
I have not.
No, just letting it do its thing and be pleasantly surprised at the end.
Very much so.
So you've been brewing, you said, for about 5 years, give or take. You've obviously got a lot of meads under your belt. Is there any one that stands out, or a couple that stand out as your favorites that you've made? You mentioned the cotton one.
I got one that's called the Apple of My Eye. That one was really, really good. One of my favorites is I call it my Golden Horizon. That is, I would probably have to say that would be my signature mead.
Golden Horizon.
Correct. It is golden raisins with golden figs and orange blossom honey.
Okay.
And with QA 23 yeast.
Okay.
And it's it's a dessert mead. So when I tell you it's sweet, it's definitely worth it. And it's not one of the ones you're just going to sit there, I'm going to drink a big glass because your teeth will pucker.
So it's a true dessert mead. It's like a nice port or something. It's going to be a nice full body to it.
Yes.
So you drinking on anything tonight?
I am not at the moment. Kind of taking it easy today. Doctor's orders, so.
Gotcha. Well, don't mind if I do.
I don't mind if you do. I mean, I got plenty to choose from.
I'm sure you do. Drinking on a, as you can see, lightly carbonated, just an apple cider from Drinking Horn up there in Flagstaff. I don't know if you've ever had their stuff or not.
I have not. Being in Ohio, I don't got much here.
What?
Yeah. I got two of them in Ohio. One is in Columbus, and the other one is in Massillon.
So you got Four Fires. And
they must be new.
Four Fires? No, I'm pretty sure Christopher's been open for quite a while, or at least a couple years now, I'm going to say.
Okay.
But yeah, they're in the area. I don't remember exactly what town he's in, but you should definitely check out their stuff. Give them a Google search and a Facebook search. Four Fires. Okay. That guy puts out some crazy flavor profiles.
I'll definitely do that.
But yeah, so this guy, masters of the dry mead.
Okay. I'm not a fan of dry, but I mean, I'll enjoy it.
This reminds me of like a dry Martinelli's, like a sparkling cider or something that's just on the dry side. Good flavor though.
Okay.
What about some least favorite meads, some less than desirables that may have crossed your path in the mead making days?
Well, I got one going right now. It's kind of did it as a, hey, I'm the mad meader, but more of a dare kind of thing.
All right.
I picked up, I had like a dozen ear of corn that was about to go bad, because we wasn't eating them. So I cut them off the ear, threw it in the freezer, and then I froze them, thawed them out, mashed them, got all that corn milk out, froze them again, thawed it out, mashed it again. And so I got that going. It's been going probably about 6 months, kind of letting the age see where it stands. And I had some, the dare part was dry ranch seasoning.
So it's going to be like a corn nuts mead?
That's exactly what I called it. I called it corny nuts.
I want to try that so bad.
I actually added, Kroger in my area actually had clearance bacon flavored syrup. So I added a little bit of that. And then I found it's mock maple syrup. Being a kid growing up, my grandma's from down south, so I remember, her making homemade syrup with vanilla, sugar, and water. Well, this is essentially the same thing. So I added some of that to it too. So we're going to see where we're standing about another couple weeks.
That sounds amazing. I love just the weird and the unique stuff. That's one thing you don't get a lot with a lot of commercial meaderies. Is they don't really take those big risks, you know what I mean, to see if something like that would sell. I got a buddy who runs a meadery up in the Seattle area who makes a taco flavored mead with garlic, red peppers, cumin, a couple other things, and it tastes like if you took like taco seasoning and made a mead out of it. It's incredibly divisive. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's great to cook with.
That's what I'm talking right there. That's my goal, is to see something like that and make it to a show. And not only for people to go, what? But actually enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm getting more jazzed the more I think about all these different flavor combinations. I'm going to stick with making traditionals for a while, just because I don't want to screw anything up. And again, fruit's expensive and all these types of things. But it does excite me to think of the potentials of savory flavors and crazy experimental flavors that you could, potentially pair up and see where it's going. That's what I like about Man-Made Mead. My favorite thing from him is that can it be a mead? He's got that wheel he spins, his 3 random flavors. I think that's fucking awesome.
Okay.
You said the first time you ever tried mead was at a Ren Fair,
Yeah, at a Ren Fair.
and was that there in Ohio?
Yep, in Reynoldsburg, I believe the name of the town is.
So what ended up going on with that? So you're at the Ren Fair and you come across the mead booth, or someone brings you a glass of Chaucer's, or what happened?
Now, see, so I've never had Chaucer's.
Okay.
I've had, it's Oliver's. I've had that. It's Oliver makes a wine.
Okay.
It's a brand of wine. So apparently they make mead too. But I'm at the Ren Fair and I'm seeing this booth and they're selling mead and I've always wanted to try it. So I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And it was like crazy fucking expensive for like a 4-ounce glass. It was like $4. Like $4 or $5 for like a little 4-ounce glass. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, it's a little expensive, but give it a shot for my first time. And I tried it and it was good, but it was almost like a honey vinegar. Like almost had that like winey taste to it, like that vinegary wine taste.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this ain't gonna turn me off of what I want to do, what I want to learn, but I could do better.
Now, were you already home brewing beer at the time?
No, I never brewed anything.
And just with the spark of an idea like that, just away all the madness starts.
Madness.
I love it, dude.
That's at its finest.
Madness at its finest. I like that. So you market yourself, at least in your online a little bit, as a Weeping Willow Meads. Where'd you pick up that name? That's cool. I like that.
So Weeping Willow. Well, the willow tree is my favorite tree. I love it. It's like the tree that can protect you from everything because the willow branches just could come down. They could give you shade, but on a nice good hot day, shelter you from a rain. It seems like so it's just like all around like the most badass tree you could have. And I like the way it looks, and it just hit me one day. I'm like, what about Weeping Willow Meads? I'm like, I like that name. It kind of like just rolls right there.
I agree. It sounds. I like the way it rolls off the tongue. It has this very very classy sounding. It's an intriguing name. Weeping Willow Meads makes you want to inquire more.
Right. So like if I was to serve you something, you're gonna expect a certain, and so like for a big word anyway, a certain panache coming out of a cup. And so like when you get that, you're like, well, hey, I just got this from Weeping Willow Meads, and this, you hear the name and then you think of what you're drinking, and it all kind of ties together, at least mentally for myself anyway.
Right.
As with cooking, you cook how you want to eat. You don't cook how other people want to eat, because if you put in what you love, almost guaranteed everybody's going to love what you make.
Are you a chef or do you cook a lot?
No, I mean, I try to, but with work and everything, it's just don't have much time.
But you like to cook?
I do.
Right on. Do you ever pair any of your meads and make food pairing, mead pairing deals or anything like that? Or do you ever plan that type of stuff out when you're making a mead?
As far as cooking, I don't, but when it comes to making meads, I do tend to pair, I try to pair like my yeast with my fruits, but I don't ever pair like meads with cooking.
Is this something you just hadn't thought about, or you just don't want to do it, or it's just
Honestly, it's so, and again, it's one of those, I've thought about it, but I'm scared to jump into that side of the pool right now, because I mean, if you was to see my brew room now, it's literally like my insanity brain exploded in here, and I can imagine pairing food with mead, and you're like, okay, so where do I go from here?
Right. Hey, I can get on board with that. I'm going to be very hesitant to do anything. Like I said, this all is very terrifying to me. It's exhilarating. It's terrifying. It's going to be fun. I can believe that. So, have you had a lot of different commercial meads?
I've only had a few. Again, I've had the Oliver's mead. And the only other ones I've had were from. No, I take that back. I've had Monks.
Oh, okay.
Monk's Mead,
I've heard their stuff is really
and
good.
the I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's a passion fruit one. Again, the carbonation I'm not a big fan of, but it was really, really good. There was another Monk's Mead that my wife got on her way back from Florida through Georgia.
So yeah, bet down in
The
Georgia.
name of it. That was really good. And there was one more. Forget the name of it, but it's literally the pear and walnut one that I was talking about, but they actually made it and bottled it.
A pear and walnut one.
Yeah, it's
I want to say I've
not
seen that in somebody's vino shipper list before. It intrigues me.
yeah. They were down in they're down in Alabama. She found it at a state store down there.
In Alabama.
Yeah, no, Georgia. I'm sorry, coming through Georgia.
Georgia. Pear walnut. It could be the Viking Alchemist.
Yeah, Viking Optimist. That's it.
Was it called Bliss?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but amazing things about Bliss. I've actually reviewed some of their stuff on my YouTube channel, and a couple of different people hit me up and said, you pick some good flavors, but when you can get a hold of the Bliss, that's what you need to pick up because that is an amazing product.
So when I tell you I savored every drop of that bottle, I literally savored every drop of that bottle.
Yeah, it's a go. Then I gotta get a bottle of that Bliss because everybody that talks about it says it's the bee's knees, man.
It really is. I mean, and then I've had Brothers Drake, which is in Columbus, who
Yep.
I've had the pleasure of meeting the owner through a mutual Mead brother, who I met for the first time as well, Michael Jordan.
Okay.
And the owner has quite a few wonderful meads. My favorite that I tried from him was the Bourbon Barrel Battle Axe.
Ooh. I love the name.
It's up front. You get that oak. You know, you get the fruit, the berries, and then you get the honey as it just coats down the back of your throat, and you smell it, and you just think, wow.
It sounds amazing. I've heard good things about Brothers Drake as well.
Yes.
They just had a big festival there in Ohio, the Sugar Belt Mead Festival. Did you attend that?
I did not.
Did you hear about it?
I have not.
Oh yeah, Tony up at I believe that's his name. Tony runs Manic Mead. I should pull up all these things while I'm talking about. I forgot I got a whole nother computer here. But yeah, they had a whole mead festival called the Sugar Belt Mead Festival. It was somewhere there in Ohio. It was a couple of weeks ago. I guess it was like a couple of months ago at this point. But Ohio, we've got. Where are you at?
Mansfield.
I'm not from there. Cincinnati side, Columbus side, Cleveland side.
I'm an hour north of Columbus, hour south of Cleveland, literally in the middle.
Okay, on the 71 area. So, oh yeah, you're surrounded by meaderies. You got McKinley's meadery down there. You got Brothers Drake. So yeah, Four Fires, Zenby. That's the other one that's in Columbus. Zenby. They're kick-ass. And then up in Akron, we got McAlpine. Oh, Crafted. I hear lots of good things about Crafted up there as well. Feisty Brood, Western Reserve. Oh, in Toledo. That's where Four Fires is at. It's in Toledo.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so you are surrounded by some really kick-ass meaderies, and they had a whole festival over there. I was dying to get out there and check it out, but man, that whole area. Have you been up to Schramm's or anything?
I have not.
Oh man, yeah. You know what? Make a trip out to Ohio. We'll link up and go do a meadery tour or something like that. That'd be freaking baller. I'd love to have somebody like go hang out with out there that's from there.
Dude, that'd be great.
So do you have any desire to go commercial or anything like that? Or is this just a passion project, a hobby? Where are you going with this?
So I do. I want to go commercial. I want to start distribution first. Where most people, they want to go meadery first, I do not.
Okay.
Biggest part of that is because you go brick and mortar, and you got a lot to put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody who has done it, I give them props and much respect. We got a couple of them in the group, and my hats off to them. I have nothing but respect for them. But I feel in order for myself, for a sense of accomplishment for me, if I go distribution, I send you a bottle, or you buy a bottle, you get word of mouth, they buy bottles, and it's by word of mouth or whatever, then if I was to open said brick and mortar place that you could come in and sit down, now you already know what you have to be up against.
Right.
You already know what you're coming for.
It just sucks that you lose out on that extra money for bottle sales for not having a storefront or anything like that. With
Agreed.
You're only, you're going to be 30,
Right.
35% or whatever it is. But I completely agree with your idea. It's significantly cheaper, so you don't necessarily need to operate at those higher costs. If you only have your brew space to worry about, you don't have a storefront you're paying lease on or mortgage or any of that type of stuff.
Exactly. So, that's
cool.
where, right. It's a give and take, and like I said, you own the meadery, that's wonderful, and again, much props to you. But I feel for me to have that sense of accomplishment, I want to be able to say, all right, well, I know TK's had he's had my golden horizon, and, he knows what kind of product I could put out. Now let me invite him to my grand opening. Now he could try some of my, my new flavors that are, about to come out.
Right.
Or my new flavors for grand opening and stuff like that with an honest opinion, with an open-minded opinion. Instead of one of those, boom, hey, I'm here, you've never had my product, hope to God I don't fail.
Hey, you know what I like about it is it suits your whole moniker of the Mad Meader, man. You're doing something different than everybody else. You're gonna go into it with on a different foot. You're riding goofy foot while everybody else is riding regular. And you know what? It probably worked for you, my man. Here's to you. And if I could ever help in any way, shape, or form, man, if you end up getting that distribution, man, I would love to be able to try your products and potentially bring them out here to Arizona, man. It's a huge market out here.
I'd be honored.
So what's been your biggest difficulty you've seen as a home brewer in, increasing the quality of your meads over the years?
Yeast and overall the quality of, well, not just time. Yeast and time. Yeast plays a big role, but obviously, you're just not going to dump champagne yeast in there and call it a day and hope to God you get great flavors. It's time, finesse, sometimes which I lack. Time I have a lot of, but it's time, it's finesse. If you want to be local, that's wonderful. Go to your local places, try what you're going to put into it. Try those blueberries, try those apples. That's what I do here. If I am going to buy my local blueberries or my local apples. So, and to me, it's my biggest thing since I started. When I first started, I'm like, okay, I could go over here and I could buy this $3 cheaper. So I'm gonna go buy them for $3 cheaper. All right, well, it's not a bad batch, but maybe I can do a little bit better. So now I'm gonna go over here and I'll buy it for $1.50 cheaper. As opposed to going down the road, I might pay $2 more, but you know what? That quality, that sugar, the flavors that it brings to your mead is going to be worth it in the end.
I agree. It goes back to what you were saying earlier. You get out of it what you put into it. You want to put subpar products into it. A very strong possibility you're going to get a subpar product in it as your final result. You don't want to cut corners where you don't need to.
Very much so.
And that's, again, one of the reasons why I don't want to start off with mellow mellows or anything like that, because you're saying, man, if you're going to get fruit, you want to use the good stuff. And I don't want to disrespect the fruit and ruin all that stuff either. What would you say is your biggest upcoming project that you got going on as far as beyond just a home brew? Do you have any brew projects you're doing with a home brew group there locally, or do you have any
we don't have no home brew groups, which is sad. I would like to start one, but there's not enough people, in my town. The closest people around me a half hour away from me, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But my biggest project is I got a friend who believes in my product, and he helps support certain aspects and ideas that I have. And one of the biggest ones we have is, we talk again, building that clientele. So we both went in half, and we got those 50 milliliter shot bottles you see in state stores.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so as I make a batch, if it's going to be good, in my opinion, what I will do is I will bottle up 15 of those and give them to him and have him pass them out to people.
Okay.
And then it's one of those, so people know what is going to be coming. And as people tend to, taste more and more, and, as time progresses and money starts saving up, we'll have that clientele that I talked about for distribution sales.
Got you. That's a good. He must have some sort of setup or be connected in that capacity or something, which is awesome because you're got that networking going on and building that, like you said, building that client base before you're even started.
Yes, when it comes to networking, I love it. I've been basically doing it for over 30 years.
So you mentioned a couple different yeast strains. Do you try to pair your yeast strains against the flavor profiles you're working with? Or do you have one that's just your favorite you use across the board?
Yes and yes and yes. Even though you didn't ask the third yes, but I'm going to throw that third yes out there. So we're going to start with the first part of the question. I do try to pair my yeast with what I'm going to be working with. For example, if I know I'm running like red fruits, berries, etc., I have a toss-up between BM4X4 or RC212. They are both wonderful. They bring out the red profiles, those flavors, the fruitiness that you're expecting when you go to drink it, those esters, and the mouthfeel for me that I've noticed.
Nice.
As far as whites go, like yeast, QA23, I try to pair it with whites, such as, like peaches, white grapes,
Okay.
things of that nature. Again, because the floralness from the QA23 enhances the peaches and the white grapes and, stuff like that. As far as my favorite go-to, my all-around spectrum is 71B. It's, people refer to like certain yeast as a workhorse, but to me, 71B is the perfect workhorse. 12-14% guaranteed every time. I've never had a stalled mead off of it. My room stays about 70, 75-ish. And clean, smooth. Like I said, the back notes you get from anything that I use it with, from a traditional to a bochet, it's wonderful. And again, those esters that it brings, like from a traditional, it brings those almost like not quite a floral tropical, but in that sense of a taste where, it accentuates the honey, in my opinion.
That's cool. See, have you worked? My first strains that I picked up was it K116 or whatever it is?
1116.
Yeah, and then picked up a Kvike yeast as well, because here in Arizona, temperature control is incredibly difficult, and I cannot be guaranteed anything close to regulated temperature at this point in time. So I heard that Kvike yeast is definitely gonna not care if it gets a little warm in that room.
Yeah. So your Kvike yeast is they try to keep it about 95, between 90 and 100 that I've read and I've talked to many people about. Have I ever worked with it? No, I have not. Do I have a strain of it? Yes, I do. It's in my freezer.
Nice.
I actually have a live strain. Got it actually from a brother in the group. Chris Redwood sent it to me. But it's, again, here in Ohio, it's one of those, it might be 75 today. It might be 102. We don't know.
Right.
And again, it's not, I don't want to do one of those, hey, I got this great yeast, so let's just wing it.
Right, and see what happens. Waste our really cool item on that.
I'd rather have, I want that perfect temperature if I'm going to do it. I want to do it right.
Right, get a bottle warmer or something, and have a more stable temperature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to give it what it needs to survive. So.
Oh, I definitely hear you on that. And so you mentioned earlier that you definitely back sweetened. Are you a back sweeten every time? Do you have any of your meads you try to target ferment sweetness, try to hit a target sweetness through fermentation or anything like that, or you pretty much just back sweeten every time?
So that's where some people will say, you should shoot for this target or shoot for that target. I do not. As you'd mentioned, I do back sweeten every time. Only because, again, I allow my yeast to work. Learn the hard way. You can't stop an active fermentation. So I've learned that patience is key when I let it run. Sometimes it will run a little drier than I like, so I back sweeten to my taste.
Gotcha.
The way I back sweeten is a little unconventional compared to most people.
Okay.
So if, for instance, I'm going to throw it out there, 1 gallon is about the most simplest thing. I use 3 pounds of honey. If I got a little less than a quarter of a headspace left, I might use 1/4 to a 1/2 pound of honey to back sweeten with to feel that difference. So I try to divide my honey as far as, headspace, 1/2 gallon, 1.5 pounds.
I gotcha. Okay.
1/4 gallon, yeah, 1/4, 1/2 pound. If it's on a super dry side, I might go 3/4.
I gotcha. And that's what it's all about, man. You know the science that you need. You got the special formula. You got the magic trick. And you just make the good product and hustle it off to us desiring consumers.
I try.
Try to anyway. So if you're stranded on like a desert island and you could bring you got 3 meads that you could bring with you, or that you found washed up on the shore or whatever, what's the 3 meads that you got?
If I have to pick 3.
Yeah, commercial, cars, whatever friends, whatever ones you've had.
I'm definitely going to have to bring the Bourbon Barrel Battle Axe.
That one sounds delicious.
I'll probably have to bring my Golden Horizon. And Michael Jordan had a braggot that I tried. I'm trying to think the name of it. It's because he did it with the Robin Hood theme. He had like 6 or 7 different braggots. And I mean, they were all super amazing. So I mean, just any of those would have been great.
Robin Hood theme, so you had like Little John and
Maid Marian, Sheriff of Nottingham.
That's awesome. That's probably one of my favorite things to see from all the different commercial home brewers. It doesn't matter. Everybody's got a set of like unique names and cool themes that they pick for their stuff. I love seeing all the different creativity everybody comes up with.
And again, like I said, that's the biggest thing. Like a lot of groups, you won't see it, but that's what we push for in micro meads, is that creativity. We want you to ask that question. What will corn taste like with dry ranch seasoning? We want you to ask whatever question you feel to you is important.
Gotcha.
Because when back to the beginning, when I first started, I got laughed at, kicked out, made fun of, all because I was making quart batches and everybody's like, oh, I'll throw away more than what you make. So,
right.
Okay.
But
So
yeah, that's what I'm doing. Just because I'm making smaller batches, why does that take away from what I'm doing? I'm still making mead. I'm still fermenting and brewing. Come on now.
exactly. And that was my thing. I'm like, so I thought it was a community, man. It's like it's more like bullying at the moment.
You know, um, I've found that to be the case as well. More personally amongst home brewers than the commercial mead makers. But it doesn't matter. There's people out there that have shitty attitudes and just kind of want to, you know, throw salt in the game no matter what.
All day.
I do like that the whole concept of coming up with the unique and crazy ideas and pushing the limits and boundaries of what can be a mead and, you know, what flavor profiles are gonna turn out. Have you seen any what's like the most unique thing that you've seen come out of the group, or one of the most unique things?
A lot of good ones has actually came from the group and just a few other groups I used to be a part of. One idea that was actually pretty good I've never ran with was a pecan pie.
See, I love that idea.
And the only reason why that came up is because the guy was, hey, I'm better than you and I challenge you to this. And I'm like, okay. Of course, COVID shut everything down.
Gotcha.
And then he became one of those guys, so I just basically left the group.
So you were talking about your quart jar. So I had one of the other guys. I think he might be in micro meads. His name's Tony. He's down in Mexico, Amuzin Cobb Meadery, and he. Oh no, you know what? He's not. He's only on Instagram, unfortunately. But he was talking about he brews in quart batches down there, and what he likes to do is, take them and put it, get the airlock on it and put it up in like an area by a couple of plants. So as it's burping off the CO2, it's helping fortify the plants in the area, you know, by enriching the air around the plants.
That's actually a very genius idea. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's like mead and plant, like kind of like a mead plant aquaponics spin-off type of thing. I think it's a great idea. I would love to see it, like something like that, pushed to the, you know, the next degree, so to speak.
That would be amazing. Yes.
I don't know what that looks like, but I think it's cool regardless.
Right.
Have you done any direct collabs with anybody, like like they're in town or even online somehow? I guess that would be a direct collab, but have you ever collabed with anybody over a mead?
Never, like, you know, hey, you know, we're going to make, well, no, I take that back. Me and Chris Redwood, we have a mead going with an old member named Traveler. He sent me and Chris some smoked maple syrup, and Chris was supposed to make something with it, and I was supposed to make something with it. And so I be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what Chris made. He told me, because I know he's still working on it and fine-tuning his.
Okay.
I let mine bulk age for a year, and it was cranberry with orange and smoked maple.
Cranberry maple?
Yep.
Wow, okay.
And I use craisins and fresh cranberries.
Okay, so you're definitely getting the spectrum of cranberry flavor.
Right. I have, and then a few other people that's in the group and a couple of my admins. I know I'm going to do one with Freedy. She's going to, she has a recipe that she makes, and I'm going to do one with her side by side. And a few other people that they've helped me build a mead by me, again, asking those questions that I wanted to ask.
Now, Freedy, she's the one who makes the drinking horns?
That is correct.
Yeah, I would love to get an interview with her. She has some amazing artwork she does on those things. It's freaking awesome.
Well, I'm pretty sure she would be down for an interview for you.
I'll shoot her a message. Holy crap, that's freaking awesome. I love talking with homebrewers because now, especially since I'm starting to brew myself or be heading that way, I feel like it's you know, it's like a much more of a camaraderie thing. You know, I like interviewing commercial mead makers too because I feel like that's like a more teacher-student type of relationship. But I love chatting it up with homebrewers too because it's like more of like a camaraderie type thing. You know what I mean? Everybody's in it together.
Most definitely.
So, is there anybody that influences you, either commercially or a friend that's nearby or anything like that, or do you just stay the course and be your own guy?
As far as commercial, um, Josh Ekton has been a really great guy.
From White
I
Bear
mean,
Meadery.
yes, I would
Yes.
love to. I would love to achieve what he's done. Um, Jason Todd Phillips, um, he's been another one he's been helpful when I've asked questions. Uh, what he's doing with his would be nice. But as far as like just one on one, um, I mean, everybody in the group has all been great. William Wagers, again, like I said, he helped me come up with one of my, you know, period pieces of a mead, of what it would have been like to make a mead back in Scotland.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, John Rentamaki. In fact, he's just helped me with another one, with the recipe with another one that I'm making a spiced. Well, he called it a sugar plum.
Yeah.
But I'm doing something for Christmas. Um, my wife, she sometimes she'll hit me with certain combos. My son, most definitely. Um, my son is out there like me, so he might think of some off the wall shit. Hey, Dad, why don't you try that? And I'm, all right, well, why not? It's something to do.
How old's your son?
14.
See, my oldest son is 12, and I'm trying to keep him as involved as possible. I'm constantly, running things by him and whatnot. And I think it's awesome to have a family type of feel and environment there. It's something I don't see enough of, and I think there might be people out there that have like a taboo around it because of the whole, you know, alcohol kid type of thing. But I think you can involve the kids without turning it into a whole thing like that. You know what I mean? You can keep it
Right.
on a family professional scale, for lack of a better term.
So my son actually designed or created, if you want to call it that, his very first mead. Um,
Awesome.
it's in my closet somewhere. It's called Pineapple Jacks,
Okay.
and it has blueberry juice, pineapples, cinnamon, um, and a couple of, I can't think of the other ingredients in it. I think vanilla maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but it's it was really good. And like I said, I still got all like four or five bottles in the closet.
All right.
But I tried to sample when it was done, and to me, I thought it was. I mean, for him, like, hey, Dad, let's go ahead and put this in there. Or, well, what do you think about adding that?
Yeah.
And obviously, my 2 cents. If it didn't sound too good, I'm like, well, let's put that on the side. We'll think about that one for a moment, then we'll go over here. He'd think of something else, and eventually he shot up, 5, 6 ingredients, and we threw it all together, and I mean, like I said, it turned out amazing.
That's awesome. I love that you got him thinking creatively and as far as like flavor combinations and everything. That's awesome. I'm incredibly envious. I hope my relationship with my son continues to go that way.
I mean, if anything, if they don't want to get into it, just say, hey, um, like I'm thinking of doing a carnival thing. Since you're going to interview me, I might as well announce it. I'm thinking about doing a carnival thing right now. It's carnival. Carnival season, fair season, whatever you want to call it, no matter where you go.
Yeah.
And I want to do 3 inspired flavors. And
Okay.
so I'm like, so well, what do you think of it? Give me 3 flavors, first thing you think of them. And he spouted off 3 flavors for me. I asked several people, and again, it's just the way to incorporate, my son into thinking something different.
That's awesome, man. I love that whole concept. The carnival fair type flavors. You could have like a funnel cake mead. You could have a candied apple or caramel apple mead. You could have like a strawberry shortcake type mead or something going on, dude. That sounds freaking wonderful. Or even you could do like a fried chicken mead.
So the 3 flavors I'm going to shoot for is cotton candy,
Okay.
caramel apple,
Okay.
and the other one is, you always see it, popcorn. kettle corn.
Kettle corn. Oh, yeah, buddy. That's what I'm talking about.
So I don't know how I'm gonna do the kettle part, but it's gonna be a popcorn with the sweetness of the honey.
Dude, you're gonna be like the Jones soda of meads, man.
And again, it's pushing, like you said, pushing that envelope. That I want people to step out that comfort zone that you feel that you can't.
Right.
And that's again, going back to micro meads. That's again why I created the group, and the admins we have in place are the ones who, if I'm not around, they make sure it's, the concept, the ideology of our group maintains intact.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I love it. And I have to say thank you for letting me be a part of your group prior to being a mead maker. I think that's a quite admirable of you, because I've gotten quite a bit of shade thrown at me just for being some chump on the internet who thinks he deserves people to watch his YouTube videos. I'm just trying to give people a perspective they might not have had otherwise. A lot of people don't have access to all these different types of commercial meads. I'm just trying to show people what's out there.
Exactly, and I'm blessed to have you. We're blessed to have you. Because, for instance, the one you're drinking right now, I mean, am I going to get to Arizona? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know exactly. So,
right.
Hearing you, I might look them up, and I might pay that Venmo or Vino shipper to ship it to me. You give them a shot,
Dude, and I feel equally as blessed to be in the group. I love being surrounded by the creativity. That's why I said I see all the creative stuff everybody's doing. I saw you post a thing about the sugar plum mead, and I love just the whole concept that the Micro Meads and Brews group brings to just the brewing world altogether. I think a lot of people would benefit from loosening their collar a little bit and unstuffing themselves up and realize you can have some fun with this. It's not just who can make the best berry bomb mellow mel. I got to be as good as Shrams, or I got to beat these guys, or have fun with it, man. Let's enjoy it while you're doing it. Don't just get lost in the details.
Right, and that's what it all boils down to. Hey, we're going to have a party. You going to come over? Yeah? Okay, great. Hey, look, man, I got these 3 cases of meads I brewed. I don't know if they're the greatest, but you know what? We're going to have like 35 people over. Let's crack open, 36 bottles. We could all have a sample. Give it a shot. See what you think.
Exactly.
And you got 30 some odd different opinions. They're going to be what you want to hear? Probably not. Someone going to be what you want to hear? Most definitely. So, and again, it's that aspect of, you get those people who's never had it, or they got that open mind to try that, that popcorn, or that sweet corn with maple and dry ranch seasoning. They got those open minds to try those.
Right. Try the savory meats. Try the one with the mushrooms in it. Try the taco flavored one.
Exactly.
Yes, that was one of the things I wanted to do as well, is try all the funkiest flavors I can find. And a lot of them I haven't been big fans of, but I'm glad I tried it, because otherwise I wouldn't have even come close to. I think probably my least favorite one I tried so far was I think it was orange chocolate fig, and man, I just did not care for it. I mean, it was well put together. It was a quality product, but man, the flavor profile did not stick with my palate at all.
I can imagine. I mean, it sounds good, but sounding and actually executing is 2 different things.
You're darn right. Well, we're coming up. We've been almost an hour here. I got a couple more questions if you still got a little bit more time.
All right.
So I got a little bit of rapid fire questions coming at you here. Here's my section I call Shut Up TK. Just spit out questions, let you do the answering, and we go as quick as we can through this. First thing you do when you get up in the morning?
Coffee.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Do you use your turn signal?
Yes. Unless I want to piss the guy off behind me.
Cat person or dog person?
Both.
Pineapple belong on pizza?
Definitely.
Toilet paper, over the top or back under the bottom?
Over the top. It's copyrighted that way.
The first mead you ever got trashed on?
My own.
Favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Samoas.
Burgers or pizza?
Burgers all day.
Favorite breakfast cereal?
Raisin Bran.
Raisin Bran. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
If I had any superpower, what would it be? The ability to heal people.
I like that. What's the worst job you ever had?
Cleaning restroom at a rest stop.
My name's John Duncan, and if I wasn't a mead maker, I would be
Probably a cast iron restoration worker.
That's a good answer, my man. I like that. Everybody, go check out Micro Meads and Brews group on Facebook. If you're into the home brewing and stuff at all, definitely give them a join. Make sure to follow the rules and regulations, all that stuff. Not trying to flood the group with anybody with the less than awesome attitudes and anything like that. But if you got a cool attitude, you're into some cool experimental meads, Micro Meads and Brews, and what was the other one?
Micro Mead makers.
Micro Mead makers and Micro Meads and Brews.
That is correct.
Yeah, so go check those two out. If like I said, if you got an open mind and you're into some cool, funky stuff, go give that a check out. Thank you very much, John, for being here today, man. It's been a very awesome time. I knew I was gonna have a good time doing this. I was looking forward to it all day. So thank you for enlightening my day and enriching my day.
Thank you, sir. I'm blessed.
All right, man. Well, that makes two of us, definitely honored and humbled. So stay in touch with TK and Drinks. Hit the subscribe, follow, all that stuff on my stuff, and be sure to stay tuned. Next week we got more interviews, reviews, and all that stuff coming up. Thank you again for being here, John. Peace.
Later.